Hi everyone, this is Mervin Matthew from Sound Canva. Welcome to the new episode. Today we are going to discuss about the main musical theme for the movie Joji. Let's dive in. Hi. So today I'm going to start a new series of videos in which I would analyze certain movie scores, especially the movie scores from Indian movies. And today we are going to take the reference movie as the movie Joji. Joji is a movie released in 2021, directed by Dileesh Pothan, written by Shyam Pushkaran, based on Macbeth. And the lead actor was Fahad Fazil, and the music is done by Justin Verghese. There are no songs in it, only the score is there. So if you haven't watched the movie, I would always suggest you to go and do it from Amazon Prime and then come back to this video, because in this video I'll be going through the main storyline and all those basic things, not very in-depth analysis of the movie, but I would be touching the basic things, so it would be really nice. So when I started watching this movie, my ears were struck in certain areas in terms of the soundtrack, especially if you have seen the movie, you must be remembering about that top view kind of drawn shot where the viewers are directly drawn into this particular plot in which this story happens. So there is a main theme which also happens parallelly. So in that main theme, there is a violin solo. So I was wondering who is this guy who can play this vibrato very in the most finest way. So I am a violinist, so my thoughts always goes in that kind of area. But then later, when I saw the end credits, I understood that it was played by the musicians of Bulgaria, especially the Sofia Session Orchestra. The violin solo is played by the main violinist from that session orchestra. So let's come into the music section. The entire music is being composed, arranged, and programmed by Justin Verghese, who have done the great work for the movies Tannirmathan Dinangal and Nyandugalude Naattilu Idavela. Then the entire strings were played by Sofia Session Orchestra from Bulgaria, and they have utilized the brass section and also the string section from that orchestral session players. And the main piano solo is played by Justin Verghese itself. And there is a choral section also. I'm not clear about that because in the end credits, it is being given that the Amala Anthony and crew have done the choral section also. But in some point, I have seen that from Bulgaria also, they have used the voices for the movie. So it's totally an international kind of production. So the entire string section is like this. Totally 22 string players are there, 6 violin ones, 6 violin twos, then 5 violas, 4 cellos, and 2 double bass. So this is how the section is. I think the cellos are 3 numbers, not 4. So totally 22 string session players are there. Then they omitted the woodwind section. They have used the brass section for that. So brass section includes trumpets, trombones, tuba, and French horns, and totally 11 players were there for that. From the information which I got, I understand that the entire score was programmed at first, then it was transferred as scores to these players. The act of doing a background score is like it's similar to how you treat a movie in terms of screenplay, direction, and all those things, because movie scoring is all about storytelling through music or sound design. Okay, through sounds you have to convey a lot of things. So If you have that, you can do a lot of things in the movies. So in this movie, what I understood is Justin Verghese, the composer, was directly focusing on this central character of Joji. His characterizations in the movie was the inspiring fact for doing this score. When you closely analyze the movie soundtrack, especially the main theme, you will understand that there are certain conversation happening in the movie itself. The certain phrases act like question and answer. So at first, the main melancholic theme, it's like, for me, it's like a question and answer which Joji asked for himself. Is there any way out? So it's really a melancholic kind of question. So this is actually the hook for this main theme. Let's hear the question. This is a question. And he gets an answer like this. So it has a looping kind of feel to it, because there is no exact answer for it. Still, he ends up in the same kind of unpleasant, perplexed kind of situation. So this main theme, this main melancholic theme, is repeated twice at first. So at first using the solo felt piano, then it is played using the string section, especially the violin solo is happening. So let's see how it is. So now the piano stops and the strings take it over. So if you take these two phrases, the same phrase being played in piano and then in strings, you will understand that the same question is being asked, but at first he ends up in the same position where he started. But when he asks the same question twice, the second time he ends up in a different way. So the instrumentation actually conveys that kind of feel. So now it doesn't stop in the minor scale. So if you start analyzing the scales used in it, you will understand that at first the harmonic minor is being used with a lot of chromatics in it. So it is a very wise decision to do like that. This is the first scale. Even when the strings take it over, the same scale is being used. But the main difference is the strings end up in the major scale. So let's see. So string ends up in this major scale. So the main thing is he gets an answer in a different way, and now when it plays the second time, he feels much more relaxed and much more positive. But at first it was not like that. So I think the music played using piano and the strings represents these two kind of emotions. So then after that, from this major scale, so even getting much more brighter, that is what happens after that, because from major scale it goes to Lydian. In the major it reaches. This is how the progression goes from this major scale to Lydian, then even to the minor scale. Within this short span of time, Justin Verghese has used three main scales, especially the harmonic minor, then the major scale, and the Lydian scale. Three scales are being used to convey these feelings. So when it comes to the major scale, obviously a much more relaxed and happy feel comes in, but it is much more exaggerated when the Lydian scale is being used, but because it gives a lot of positivity. So when you watch the movie, you must have understood it. At first, he has this kind of confusing kind of situation in the movie. Then he finds a way to be happy, and he explores it and becomes much happier. So till this moment, it's really happy, but it doesn't stays there. It flows back to that main situation, but in a different way. After this Lydian thing, it directly goes into this string ostinato, which is played by the high strings, especially the violins and the violas. But at the same time, the lower strings, especially the cellis and the basses, are playing a much interesting kind of minor kind of flavor thing in legatos. It works like a loop, and it stays in the top, but in the bottom layer, the legato strings, especially the bass strings, are playing a different thing. Here, even from the Lydian scale, it goes to minor scale, but not the harmonic minor scale. Here, the melodic minor is being used. So melodic minor is like. So melodic minor. So the major sixth and the major seventh is being used. So this is where the string ends. Then the same melancholic theme comes. The same harmonic minor progression is being used. If you analyze this particular score in terms of the scales used, you will understand that at first it is starting in harmonic minor, that melancholic mood is there. Then it goes to major scale, then to Lydian scale, then to melodic minor scale, then back to the harmonic minor scale. So it's like a circle. All these emotions, all these perplexed, confusing, melancholic feel at first, then it goes to a very positive and very bright kind of sounding to it. At first, the sounding is really dark because when you listen to this piano, the piano tone is pretty cool and pretty dark. But when it comes to the strings, it becomes much more open and much more bright, especially in that Lydian scale area. Then when it comes to the ostinatos along with the string legatos, the situation is much more serious, and for the things which Joji had done, he must pay. And that that fight between all those things which was happening around, that is the emotion which Justin has tried to emulate it through that ostinatos and the string legatos. This is actually the emotional graph of this entire track. That is what I understood from it, and it's done pretty well. It's a great track actually. The first main important aspect is the usage of chromatic notes. Chromatic notes are the semitones which are very close together. So if you play it with a lot of chromatic notes, you will get very emotional kind of sounding, very haunting kind of sounding you'll get. So especially harmonic part is also really chromatic. The chords are also really chromatic. And the other main important thing is the usage of ad libs. Ad-libs are the term used to say the improvisational aspects of the rhythm. Orchestral music, when there is a conductor to conduct these musicians, obviously these improvisation, the length of certain areas can be fluctuated. So it will have a rhythm, but it won't be that meticulously repeated kind of rhythm. So I'll just demonstrate it. It has a feel to it. It's good. So if you play it with a lots of ad libs in it, it sounds totally different. So let's see it. So here I haven't gone with that meticulous kind of rhythm, but at certain points I lag the music a bit. At certain points I make it much more faster. So that kind of thing, it happens only in orchestral music. So that is a main important feature. And the other main important characteristic is the usage of a lot of articulation, especially when you listen to this music. The legatos are being used, spiccatos are being used, tremolos are used, then marcatos, pizzicatos by strings, and all those main articulations are being covered. So that kind of variation in dynamic variations is also there, along with the articulation variation. So that makes it much more organic and life flows through it. And the other important characteristic regarding the orchestral writing is the usage of modulations, especially all these scale changes happens very organically and very seamlessly. You won't feel like the scale is getting changed over and over again and again. No, it happens really organically. So that is also a main important characteristic for this particular track. So here, when it comes to string arranging, a great work has been done by Justin Varghese because it has this international kind of sounding to it, because you have to arrange all these instruments for the music which you write. So that is a different craft in itself, and it was done pretty effortlessly. Especially the voice leading is really good. All these soundings and all those things are pretty. It has this international kind of standard to it. And let's see what all influences are there for this particular track. Because I don't believe that a music happens all of a sudden from within you. No, it happens from different kind of influences, and you'll be obviously inspired by a lot of great stuff. So the main melodic idea is being influenced by a Japanese music called from Masato Shimon, an artist from Japan, and it's like. So the main chord progression and the basic idea is inspired from that. That's what I believe. But I'm not saying that it is being copied. No, it's not copied, but it has influences from it. But in this track, as I have mentioned earlier, the main chromatics are being used. So it's like. These two music has got two different feels, so you cannot say that it is being copied. And especially when it comes to the string section and the string arranging, especially that strings which is played as part of that Lydian scale, it's being probably inspired from a lot of soundtracks done by John Williams and all those great musicians. Especially you can find the influences from extraterrestrial ET, and this particular Lydian scale is being used very extensively in movie scores. So you can obviously get inspired. There is no problem with it. Then especially that ostinatos and the main legato, string legato, it can also be said that it has inspirations from the superhero movies, especially the Marvel or DC superhero movies, and it's also there. So I don't think that it's a copied work. No, it's a very original kind of work, but it has influences from different musical styles and genres. It's quite natural. There is no point in saying that everything has to be 100% original. No, it doesn't happen like that. You will obviously get influenced and inspired from the music around you. So that is it. Overall, the soundtrack is beautiful and really effective, and it gets aligned to the storyline, actually storyline and the events which happen as part of the movie. And usually when it comes to background scoring, at times there are situations where the visual colors are not matching with the tonal colors. The things which you see in the visuals doesn't match with the tonal colors which you select as part of your instrumentation. But here it doesn't happen like that. It perfectly gets aligned. So you won't feel like the music is a separate thing from this movie. So it's a great thing to have. And Justin Verghese has done a great work. And it is really appreciable. The entire crew has done a great work for this movie, and its sounding, especially the sound design aspect, is also really amazing. And I wish he gets the state award or even the national award for the scoring of this particular movie. So that's it. Hope you guys this episode. Please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next week with a different video. Thanks.